I've got 7:30 East Coast time, and actually Brian and we're like the team North Carolina now. I'm coming to you from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Whoop, whoop.
Woohoo!
And Brian is coming to you from Asheville. He moved up to Asheville recently, so we got we got the North Carolina folks coming at you this evening, and we've got some amazing trips to tell you about. So I invite you to all get comfortable.
Oh, you're here.
Get yourself a tasty beverage because tonight is part happy hour, part dreaming about where
You want me
you're.
to put my voices louder?
And we want you to come have the active vacation of a lifetime with us. So let's kick things off. If you've traveled with us at Trek Travel, you know that we start every trip, every day with a route talk. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're coming to you on Zoom tonight, and I'm sure you're all very good at navigating Zoom because we've had lots of opportunities to do that. But if you're not, if you move your mouse, you will get a taskbar, and that's where you can turn on your microphone and turn it off. You can turn on your camera and turn it off. You also have a chat box, and that's where you can ask us questions. So Brian and I will do our best to answer as we go along, and then we'll make sure we hit all those questions at the end. And it's also where you can answer some of the trivia questions that you'll see this evening. So definitely make sure you know where that is. And another feature would be closed captioning. So if you want to have the text come up on the bottom of your screen, hit that little box with a CC, and that's an option for you this evening. So at this point, I want to invite everyone to turn off your camera, turn off your mic, and we're going to get this show on the road. So I was talking about our route talks. And we start every day on a Trek travel trip with a route, so you know where you're headed for the day. So this evening, this is where we're headed. We're going to start off and tell you who we are at Trek Travel and what we do. Then we'll ride up that little incline, and we're going to talk about what sets us apart from our competition and why you should travel with us. Then we've got another hill to climb, and that's where you're going to hear about the trip highlights of Cali wine and Vermont trips. And Brian's going to join us for that, and you'll hear all about the nice details on those trips there. Quick descent, I'll come back on. You'll hear about how to get booked, logistics, things about our website and how you can find the perfect trip for you. And then we'll come in through the finish with questions and answers, and we'll invite you back to turn on your camera and your mic at that point in time. So no safety talk this evening. So let's start out with who we are at Trek Travel and what we do. At Trek Travel, we believe in taking you on vacations that move you, both literally and figuratively. We've been curating active vacations all over the world, always scouting out new locations for you, and it's been over 20 years of fun. Now, along those 20 plus years, we've won a few awards along the way, including being voted one of Travel and Leisure's best tour operators. And in 2023, we were number 5, and we're super proud. That's our highest finish yet. Of course, we've got our sights set on number 1. We do our best to reach higher and higher every year. So now I want to tell you why you should choose to travel with Trek Travel. You might hear us call it our secret sauce. And rather than telling you, I want to show you with some amazing videos and photos. We hope you enjoy this video that's presented and narrated by our president, Tanya Burke. It's called Why Trek Travel.
Travel is transformational. It allows you to have a different perspective, get to know a culture, your surroundings, and the landscape around you. But a cycling vacation really is different. You can see things up close and personal. You can smell the flowers. You work up an appetite riding your bike, and so it makes the dinners taste that much better. And for me, it is the absolute best way to see the world. We meticulously plan every single one of our trips, from hand-picked perfect accommodations to the region's best riding and local and cultural experiences that really immerse you in the place that you're traveling. And these are all the elements of an awesome trip. Our guides provide exceptional hospitality. They're really focused on making sure we have a seamless and effortless experience for our guests, and they provide wow moments that you would never expect. If you're avid and want to go do some epic climbing, you can do that. If you want more of a leisurely ride, we have trips for you as well. We also offer e-bikes, and they have been an absolute game changer. People can go further than they ever imagined. So we have different rider levels, different trip styles, price points, and destinations all throughout the world. We go to North America, Europe, South America, Asia, and pretty much anywhere you can dream up, we can take you on a vacation there. The most important thing, and I think everyone at Trek Travel shares this, is taking care of people. And that's why we do what we do. It's ingrained in our training, and it's ingrained in our commitment to providing exceptional hospitality. And our hope is that all of these elements come together and provide an experience of a lifetime.
Love that video. Tanya, of course, does an amazing job of highlighting everything that sets Trek Travel apart from our competition. So I know you're with us tonight because you love to ride your bike and you want to hear about these amazing trips. So let's talk bikes. At Trek Travel, we are super proud to offer some of the newest, best bikes in our industry on our cycling tours. That truly sets us apart. We are Trek Travel, after all. So I'm going to show you the bikes that we use on the majority of our trips. And do note that a few regions in the world will offer different bikes than the one I show you this evening. So first, on our gravel trips, we're offering the Trek Checkpoint SLR 7. And the option for that, we'll talk about the electric option on those gravel trips. But then second, our standard road bike is the Trek Domani SL7 that you see there. Those are awesome. They're carbon frame, super light. Carbon wheels are standard on these bikes now. Disc brakes, Di2 shifting, so electronic shifting. If you've not ridden electronic shifting, you're going to love it. It's like a mouse click. Super fun to ride, light bikes, really great. And now we have 2 electric assist bikes, which means you still have to pedal to get that little boost kick in. So we have a hybrid e-bike, which is a more upright construction, low step through, and that's the Trek Verve Plus. That's a hybrid bike, and that's offered on many of our trips as the option to the road bike. And then the option on some of our road trips and some gravel trips is the Trek Domani Plus SLR 7 that you see there. So you can see right below the standard Domani. It looks very similar, same geometry, just a little boost, and it's super stealth. I rode one of those on our Arizona trip, and they're awesome, really great bikes. So if you've not ridden an e-bike, I highly recommend that you go to your local Trek dealer and try one out because they're so fun. Brian and I will both tell you can't ride an e-bike and not have a smile on your face. They're so much fun. And if you're riding with somebody who perhaps is a different fitness level or ability, putting them on an e-bike, you can both enjoy the same vacation. It's really, really fun. So check out e-bikes if you haven't. All right, there's a beautiful picture of our Girona gravel trip over in Spain, and this is your first trivia question. So open up your chat box. All you have to do is put the letter of the correct answer in your chat box. Here we go. How many Trek travel destinations include e-bikes as an option? Well, I didn't give that one away. Is it A, 94, B, 38, C29 or D57. And I mentioned before, e-bikes, super fun. We've seen a huge surge in our guests riding e-bikes because it's awesome. They still can enjoy their vacation without feeling totally gassed if they want to do a trip that's really challenging. Some trips, of course, like race route trips, we're not offering e-bikes, but many, many of our trips have those as options. When I was in Tuscany, all of the cities are on hilltops in Tuscany. And so having an e-bike really gave people a nice advantage where they could enjoy the views, stop and take photos, and still feel like they were enjoying themselves and still seeing the sights. Okay, that was plenty of time, right? Everyone's got an answer in? The answer is D. 57 of our trips have e-bikes as an option, with 46 having the option of that Domani Plus that's actually on the left-hand side, with the Domani on the right in that front line of people. And that is on Girona gravel. Now, a question we often get is about rider levels. And on all of our trips, we categorize our trips in levels 1 through 4. Pretty simple, right? So we've got lots of descriptions of what this means on different types of trips, and you'll find lots of great details on that on our website. So what styles of trips do we offer? I've mentioned several different things here. Let's talk about that style of trip that we offer. You are on with us because you want to hear about road cycling. Those are the trips that we're featuring tonight. And that is our bread and butter. We love road biking. So these are the trips that take you mostly through quiet roads, bike paths, occasional shouldered road. On most of these trips, you want to be comfortable with a little bit of traffic. And if you aren't, our guides can often make some accommodations, give you a boost in the van, get you to a spot that you feel a little more comfortable riding. And as I mentioned, we're classifying these trips levels 1 through 4. Again, take a look at that website. It'll give you details on what kind of distance does level 2 mean, what kind of vertical, and how many hours in the saddle for each of those levels. So you can have an idea of what's the best fit for you based on rider level. Now, a trip style that we introduced last year has been huge for us, and that is gravel cycling. This is for our guests who want to get off the beaten path and have gravel or mountain bike experience. You can see really, really beautiful venues for this. Again, levels 1 through 4. And on the website, you'll also see that distance. It's going to be a little shorter distance because that same distance on gravel is going to be harder than riding on the road. Also looking at that level, how big is that gravel? Is it pea gravel? Is it a bike path? Is it chunky gravel? That sort of thing. And again, how much incline saddle time will be detailed on each of those rider levels. So those icons just give you a little bit of visual, but check out that gravel page to learn more on the website. And now we have a new trip style that we launched this year in 2024. We're so excited to introduce you to Trek Travel hiking and walking tours. And of course, we all recognize Cinque Terre there in Italy. And that is one of the locations where we have hiking and walking tours. Our other destinations are Portugal, Scotland, and Ireland. We already run cycling vacations in those spots, so that's where we've got great connections and relationships with the vendors, the hotels, and all of the providers that we have in those areas. Also, we're categorizing our hiking and walking in those same levels. So distance, terrain, vertical, hours walking, all of that will be detailed on the website. So it truly sets us apart by having unmatched itineraries, incredible excursions that will immerse you into that local culture. Really awesome, and they've been super popular. So now let's talk about what's included, because that's another thing that sets Trek Travel apart from our competition, is that we include more. So on both our hiking, walking, and cycling tours, we're going to put you up in some really awesome hotels, really charming. They fit the culture of the area. They're convenient to you, our dining options. Your guides are included in that trip cost. Daily breakfasts, most lunches, most dinners. We always have fantastic snacks and drinks every mile of the way. If we're transferring hotels, we'll move luggage for you. And some of our trips include some great Trek travel gear to keep. And cycling, I already mentioned those world-class bikes, and those will come equipped with a Garmin GPS with 1 to 3 routes loaded for each day. That support van's going to be there every mile. And then on hiking, walking, we're going to provide your backpack, hiking poles, and a water bottle. Of course, you're welcome to bring your own backpack and hiking poles if you want to bring those and pack them with you. Same thing with a helmet on the cycling. You're welcome to bring your own, but we're happy to provide that for you. So that doesn't leave much of what's not included. So we're going to ask you to get yourself to and from the trip start and finish. If you want to get there early or stay late, that lodging would be on your own. Any optional activities that are not included in the trip would be on your own. And we have some great suggestions for things in each of these regions. Some meals, we want to invite you to get out and enjoy that local culture. And we vetted some awesome restaurants in each of those areas as well to give you recommendations. And then gratuities for your Trek travel guides are not included in the trip price. All right, open your chat box. We have got our next trivia question coming at you now. Pretty picture of the Black Hills gravel trip. Here's the question. How many continents will Trek Travel visit in 2024? Your options are 2, 7, 4, and 5. So put the letter of the correct answer in that chat box. And I'm going to keep my mouth closed for a minute to give you a chance to answer that. All right, giving you a couple of minutes. Let's see. So our amazing trips are going to take you to Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and we just added Australia. So the answer is D, 5. Come on and explore all 5 continents with us with Trek Travel. All right, now we are up on the top of that hill and we're at the point where Brian's going to join us and he's going to give you details about 2 awesome cycling trips, California wine country and Vermont, which he's going to be guiding this fall. So I'm going to pass it over to my co-guide, Brian, out there in Asheville to talk about these amazing destinations with you. Brian, take it away.
From one North Carolinian to another. Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
And as a reminder to everybody, my name is Brian. I'm a second-year guide here with Trek Travel, loving it, and happy to present a couple of wonderful places for you to vacation on your bike. So please awaken your senses as you discover the best of the California wine country, tasting seasonal cuisine, inhaling the aroma of fine wine and spirits, and exploring the majestic redwoods. Discovered the varied and vineyard-lined terrain of Sonoma County's Big 3 appellations: Russian River, Dry Creek Valley, and Alexander Valley. The terrain is generally rolling, with a few flat stretches on quiet, but sometimes narrow roads. For those seeking more challenging rides, the hills to the east or west of the valley are sure to please even the most avid cyclist. Our California Wine Country Bike Tour is best suited for our level 2 or 3 riders. The rides average about 30 miles a day with 1,200 feet of climbing. Although we're based out of Healdsburg, we get to ride through 3 renowned American viticultural areas. The Russian River, Dry Creek, and Alexander Valleys produce some of the best wines in the country, if not the entire world. These sun-drenched vineyards will flank us on every side as we ribbon our way through this region. The Russian River Valley is known for its Cabs and Merlot. The Dry Creek Valley is known for its Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and the Alexander Valley is known for its Zinfandel. We'll cycle along tranquil byways through the Alexander and Dry Creek Valleys. You'll pass many distinctive wineries in the Dry Creek Valley, home to more than 50 different wineries in one of the top Zinfandel producing regions. If you're up for a challenge, tackle Rockpile Road, a beautiful detour through the Lake Sonoma recreation area with views of Lake Sonoma. There's opportunity for a challenging avid ride if you're feeling up to it. Pine Flat Road is calling your name. This 11-mile climb entertains local cyclists and pros alike with views of the surrounding valleys. And on this day, you'll once again ride through the Russian River Valley, known for its tantalizing Pinot Noir on your way to the Pacific Ocean. You'll follow the Russian River to its outlet into a great cafe in the town of Jenner. We'll stop for lunch along the coast and take in some expansive ocean views. It's honestly the best ride of the week if you're asking for my opinion. The Healdsburg Town Square is great for a little bit of shopping or a little bit of wine tasting, maybe a little bit of both. Selby's Tasting Room, just around the corner from our hotel, is one of the places that we do a tasting on this trip. It's the oldest downtown tasting room. The winery is 100% owned and operated by Susie Selby. Selby wines have been served in the White House since 1995, over 4 administrations, both Democratic and Republican. A true bipartisan agreement. The wine has been served to numerous foreign leaders, entertainers, actors, and former presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama. We will enjoy their broad selection of white, red, rosé, and dessert wines. And be sure to stop and admire the majestic, towering redwoods and enjoy a walk to visit the oldest or the tallest trees in the park, the oldest being 1,400 years old and 310 feet high. Now, if this sounds like an amazing destination with just enough miles in the saddle, then let's head a bit further east towards our second trip highlight because you are in for another treat. On our Vermont bike tour, I can assure you that there's no better place to celebrate the beauty of changing seasons than the Champlain Valley and Green Mountains. You'll enjoy covered bridges, charming small towns, sprawling mountain vistas, rolling hillsides, grazing cows, and meandering rivers. So what is so great about riding in Vermont? The terrain consists of hilly roads with lots of short hills and some longer climbs. All of the rides are highlighted by rewarding vistas and winding roads thanks to the beautiful fall foliage. Please be aware that you will encounter sections of dirt and gravel on a daily basis. As always, if you want to skip these sections, you're welcome to shuttle in the support van for those very small stretches. Our Vermont biking tour is best suited for our type 2 and 3 riders. Our Trek Travel guides can also easily accommodate type 1 and 2 riders who seek less mileage or fewer uphills with just an easy boost in the van. Those who wish to ride every mile but are concerned about their physical ability may want to try one of our electric bike options. You'll still get a workout, but you can climb alongside even the strongest rider. Type 3 or 4 riders will enjoy the extra mileage as well and the extra climbs that the Avid options offer each day. And for our flatland lovers, you are in for a treat as well, as we will pedal on the causeway that connects mainland Vermont with the Champlain Islands. Undoubtedly, this is the flattest section of the trip. This abandoned rail line makes for a scenic and serene ride across this expansive lake. There's a 200-foot gap in the causeway to allow boats to pass through, a distance we'll cover via the local bike ferry. And then for those that love to climb, there's a treat for you too. Imagine stunning colors, a winding road, a bright red barn, and a tall church steeple in the distance. Thus begins our epic journey of the trip. We'll tackle the west side of Mount Mansfield to Smuggler's Notch. This climb is 8 miles long with a 3.5 to 4% average grade, touching 11% at its steepest. As with most mountain passes in the US, the gradient starts out pretty mellow and slowly ramps up, with the final 3 miles averaging 7%. Upon summiting, we'll return the way we came with a rewarding descent and great views on the way back into Stowe. And we'll pedal across some epic covered bridges too. One bridge to note seen here is the Gold Brook Bridge. It's one of the oldest, most storied, and certainly the most haunted covered bridge in all of Vermont. The legend goes that there was a young woman sometime between 1849 In 1949, that's still like baby years for those redwoods we were talking about. But a young woman, 1849 to 1949, named Emily, who was jilted by a lover, she died at the site of this bridge and is said to haunt it to this day. Besides the amazing hotels, fantastic riding, and New England charm, we will also take you on some epic excursions. Did you know that Vermont is the largest producer of maple syrup in the US? We'll visit a local sugar house for a private tour and maple syrup tasting. And for a fun fact, pure Vermont maple syrup must meet strict quality standards and is graded on 4 characteristics: color, clarity, density, and flavor. Without giving away all the secrets, just know that you'll come away with a newfound appreciation for the art and science of sugaring. Another favorite treat for our guests and guides is the trip to Ben & Jerry's, a Burlington, Vermont founded company. You'll get to experience the traditional flavors that you're familiar with, along with some that may be new and even some that are unreleased. Ice cream is to Vermont as Starbucks coffee is to Seattle. So, just to recap, amazing riding, New England charm, fantastic food, amazing hotels, maple syrup tasting, and Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And one last amazing aspect of this trip, there is no eye pollution. In Vermont, billboard advertising is actually illegal. Vermont is one of only 4 states to ban commercial billboards. There's nothing around to obstruct your views of this beautiful slice of Americana. The evening is still young. Thank you all for joining me as I presented these 2 wonderful trips. And we're going to move on to our next destination now. And I will be handing it back to Kate.
Ryan, thank you so much for taking us through those amazing destinations. I've had the joy of riding in each of those locations. I've got friends who live right along Lake Champlain in Vermont. So I'm really lucky that I've had a chance to ride all those routes. And actually, when I was a new guide in 2019, we did all of the Cali wine routes. So really awesome locations. You can't go wrong with any of our trips. So hopefully Brian's got you excited about the booking process. Let's talk about getting you booked on these trips. If you've not been on our website, we have a new website this year. We would love to have you check it out and see how easy it is to find the right trip for you. We've got more videos, key information about our trips, travel dates, so much more for you to check out. And most importantly, helpful details about each trip, including travel logistics to help you plan for your trip. We always recommend arriving at least 1 day before your trip starts to avoid any travel delays. And if you're changing time zones, make sure you give yourself enough time to accommodate for those changes and get enough sleep for these trips that are so fun and challenging. And if you have more questions about logistics, please feel free to reach out to our trip consultants. They're super happy to talk to you and provide as much detail as possible. Now we're almost to the end of tonight's event where we'll be sure to answer all of your questions. But before we get to that point with the questions and action steps, you are on tonight because you heard about this either through an email, your local bike shop, a friend. We do these events on Wednesday evenings, and we have a schedule of them on that new website that we've got. You can click on the events page and see when we're going to be presenting about perhaps Majorca luxury, about Glacier National Park trip, about ride across Italy. Any of those things, you can see when we're presenting and then register for that and know that since you've already heard about the details of what sets Trek Travel apart, you could log in 10 minutes late once you're registered and find out the scoop of the highlights of those trips, or know that we're going to send a recording in that next few days so you can watch that recording and with your friends, your family, and convince them to go on that trip with you. So that's a little pro tip for that. And then we load them to our YouTube channel so you can watch them at your leisure. So that brings us to 4 action steps. The first is to watch for that recap email, and it's going to have a valuable coupon for a couple $100 off your next Trek travel trip. So you're lucky you registered and hopped on tonight, because you'll be getting that in the mail along with the recording email, that is. Then visit our website. I've mentioned this a few times tonight. All kinds of things to find on there. You can search for the right trip for you, either based on the dates that you have available for vacation. You can search by rider level. You can search by national parks collection, foodie collection, all kinds of ways to find the right trip for you. Then call us. Call our trip consultants and get the scoop on any of our trips. You can even throw at them, I want to go somewhere in September. I ride at this level. I want to do wine tastings, and they will give recommendations. So they're a wealth of information. They can answer any question, and you're going to love them. They're fantastic. They are available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they're in the Central Time Zone. And then the 4th action step is to get ready for your trip. We all know that half the fun of a trip is preparing for that, right? Getting the right things, getting measured for your bike, doing the rides, getting excited, getting your friends out riding with you. So if you need help, go to your local Trek store. You can find that by going to trekbikes.com and put in your zip code, and that will find you the local Trek store. They can have you try out an e-bike if you want to give that a test drive. They can do your measurements on a Domani if you need to get those, and send them to us so we can get your bike pretty close to perfect and then dial it in once you get there. They can tell you where you should be riding, how often you should be riding to get ready for your trip, and all kinds of other information. So that is a big part of having a fun and enjoyable trip, because that preparation is vital. Now we are on to that final part of our route, which is ask us anything. We want to answer your questions. So I invite you to turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and fire away with questions. Brian and I are also going to comb through the chat box as we're going to see if there are questions that might benefit the whole group. So Lena, you've got your camera on. Do you have a question for us? Oh, can't hear you. All right, connecting to audio. And Brian, do you have a chance to go through and see if we've got some? Oh, Lena, are you there?
I think I am. Uh-oh, now we've got reverberation. Oh, boy. I did not have a chance to check the website and dates this year for the wine country tours
Ask where you should fly.
and where I should fly to.
Okay, we have all of that info on our logistics part of that trip. And I think Brian he's great at finding that info with the dates, and he'll give you a link in the chat box that's going to have the dates that are available.
Yeah, so Lena, I just dropped that link into the chat box. It's the most recent message in there. So if you click on that, you can just scroll down about halfway, or no, barely even more than a quarter of the way down the page, and you'll see all the dates that are available. There's 7 weeks that are available starting on September 8th and running through November 14th. Of those weeks, 4 of them are guaranteed to run the trip. 1 of them has limited space remaining. And then the final 2 weeks of all of that, those aren't guaranteed yet, but that makes sense because they become guaranteed as people sign up for them, and people are more likely to sign up for the trips that are happening closer to today's date. So that's a common trend to see some of the earlier trips noted as guaranteed and not the later trips. So hopefully I didn't confuse it throwing around all those numbers. If nothing else, click on that link I just dropped for you, and then scroll about a quarter of the way down the page, and you'll see big bold letters, dates and pricing. And that's exactly what you're looking for.
Brian, thank you so much.
You are welcome so much. Let's
Jim
see.
and Mary Lou were asking about the minimum age for tour participants. I'm not sure if we have a hard age. I think it's a matter of fitting on our bikes.
No, mine. No, you just have to hit click to join. You don't need a meeting.
And then Sarah was asking if you need to switch to an e-bike during the trip, is that an option, or would you just skip the hill and take the van? So it really depends. Most of our trips, we want you to choose an e-bike or a Domani before the trip, because once we get going, we're not at a point in those, as we travel through our trip for the week and our vacation, we can't get back to where the bikes are. And often a lot of the e-bikes are already taken. So we may not have all of the bikes to be able to switch. So we want you to choose before the trip starts. Oftentimes you can try one out, the other participants and the guests on the trip, you can try out their bike if they're all out there. But definitely try one at your local Trek store or near wherever you are and see if that's an option if you want to give that a try. But we are always happy to give you a boost as well. Keith, do you have a question?
I think that his was the one that was just doing the reverb right there. So
Okay.
I manually muted you just now, Keith, because of that. So if you did have a question, my apologies. Please unmute yourself and ask that question. If not, I think it might have just been an accident, and that's why we were having the reverb.
Yeah,
Let's
Jerome
Oh.
asked, he asked last week, and the presenters didn't know the answer. For people who are electro hypersensitive, who cannot use wireless devices, is there an option for a bike without a wireless shifter? All our bikes are electronic shifting.
Yeah, correct. So the short answer to that question is no, there's not an option for a bike without a wireless shifter. Sorry about that.
And our Garmin's are also wireless devices, and that's where you're getting the map for where to turn. And so it's all electronic. So that may be something, perhaps you want to bring your own bike.
No, but my question was, on the Sonoma trip, do you recommend we fly into San Francisco or Sonoma?
Brian's going to look at that on the trip page to see the answer. So we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I can figure that one out pretty quickly on the website.
Okay.
Arrival and departure into Sonoma County Airport. That is code STS.
It's been a while.
All right.
And then
So you recommend we fly into Sonoma?
Yes, sir. You'll also be close enough if you fly into San Francisco International or Oakland International. But the question is, which do we recommend? Sonoma County Airport.
most convenient.
Yeah.
Christina asked, are there training plans to prepare for rides located anywhere on the website? That's where we're going to send you to your local Trek shop. They are the ones who can provide all the info about local rides for you that will be appropriate to get you ready for the trip that you are going to be traveling on.
Yep. And the next question is from Christopher, who asks, are there any plans for full-time trip in Vermont? Christopher, Christmas just came early for you. We do have a full-time gravel trip in Vermont. I dropped you the link in direct reply to your message, and it is freaking awesome. So yeah, we got a trip there.
Yep. Gravel's been huge for Trek travel. All right. May was asking, private tour, what's the difference between private and custom?
I've never worked a custom tour, so if you have better insight on that than me.
Well, I know a private one would be just for your group. And some of the custom trips, if we come up with a trip that perhaps somebody wants to do Puglia and Sicily as part of their a custom trip, but they're open to having other people on that with them and not just their private group, that would be the difference between custom and private. So they're both going to be, could possibly be custom, but you can take any of our trips and book it just for your group, and then it's private. But if it's custom, we're designing things for you and your group, and then it can be private or public. Just depends.
Cool, thank you. Jerome asks if you bring your own bike, is the trip cost the same? Yes, it's the same regardless of if you bring your own bike or you use one of the wonderful bikes that we provide for you.
Yes. And Lena said, love Puglia. Who doesn't, right? Bye for now. How many participants are needed to make a trip guaranteed? It really depends on the trip. Most of our trips are guaranteed with one person booking, but there are some where there are some extra costs that we need to cover. So some are going to take a smaller number to guarantee it. So it really depends on the trip. And there is info on the website on frequently asked questions, which Brian's looking. So I think he's going to have that for us in a second. And I'm going to
Sorry, that's not on there.
Okay.
Your answer was right though. I know that it's
Yeah.
trip dependent. So
Trip
it just
dependent.
depends on truly at the end of the day it comes down to cost analysis. So it's
Yeah.
trip dependent, and I do not have the number memorized for
Okay. Yeah.
every location as to how many are required. Sorry.
Right. Let's see. And I have reached the bottom of the chat box with questions. Are there other questions that Brian and I can answer for you? Feel free to turn on your mic, your camera, or both. We'll be happy to answer those for you or throw that in the chat box. We'll see what we can do. Mary, do you have a question?
I
If
think
you're
that's about it, Kate.
okay. Well, please know that if you do come up with questions, our trip consultants are happy to answer them. You'll be getting that email and you can inquire any of questions that come up through that as well. So if no more questions, then Brian and I want to thank you so much for spending your evening with us, dreaming about where your bike's going to take you next. We can't wait to see you out on the seat of a bicycle with us sometime soon, hopefully this fall. So enjoy the evening and take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.